I just recently received a box full of Kodansha English Library books that expanded my collection. So I want to go over my collection again. These are books that are translated into English in Japan for the sole purpose of being kind of textbooks for Japanese people who are learning English to try out reading in English. And one of the best parts about them is that you will get English translations of Japanese works that are really not available outside of Japan. So some of these have been some huge writers' first English translations have come out in these English Kodansha libraries. So they also release a lot of books that are originally written in English that are part of this library that have notes in the back, just like the English translations do in English and Japanese. I don't collect those ones because they're not new translations of original Japanese work. So I'll never get the entire Kodansha English Library because I don't need Alice in Wonderland and The Great Gatsby and stuff like that in this collection because I have different copies of those in English already. But the unique translations of Japanese works are absolutely incredible. So I finally got number one, which is The Best Scenes from Musashi. Of course, Musashi is by Eiji Yoshikawa, and this is translated by Charles S. Terry. And it's, of course, not the entirety of Musashi, but it is the best scenes from that. And these books, as you can tell, are kind of tiny, very cool in the traditional Japanese style. They have what's called an obi on them. So they have a dust jacket, and then they have a further kind of advertisement panel that is called an obi. And of course, an obi is what wraps around a kimono, that kind of thick tie that they put on a kimono. So it makes sense that they are called obis. It's really kind of a cool idea. So yeah, I think this is one of the first English translations of Musashi. And it's not the entire one, of course. It's just the best scenes from it. Number 2 is Totto-chan, The Little Girl at the Window. This is by... Sorry, I don't know right at the top of my head. Tetsuko Kuroyanagi, and is translated by Dorothy Britton. This is an extremely popular book in Japan. It's a tearjerker. It's a very sad book. I can't remember exactly why I did read this many years ago, and I just don't remember enough about it to really be able to talk about it. But yeah, like I said, this is a thicker one, so it's the complete work. It's got the obi on it, which is great. You want the obi. And so it's got the text in English, and then in the back, it's got all kinds of phrases and words translated into the Japanese for the reader to be able to understand exactly what is going on. From there, we make a jump and we go to 8, which is Botchan by Natsume Soseki. And this is kind of the way that I always heard it told, is that this is kind of the Huckleberry Finn of Japan. It's about, or the Tom Sawyer maybe of Japan, actually. It's about a precocious young child at first, that's always getting in trouble, but is secretly pretty dang brilliant. Again, I read this a long time ago. I read a lot of these when I was in Japan. Kokoro and his book Moan were a lot more memorable to me. Number 10 is Little Momo-chan by Miyoko Matsutani. This is one of the ones I just received, and I'm not familiar with this at all. It's a thin book. It looks like it might be another book about a precocious kid. So it's probably a comedy. I'll have to give it a read. Now to show just kind of the caliber of what some of these are, we get the first ever translation of Haruki Murakami into English. And the interesting thing about this is that it is Murakami's second novel not his first. So the first ever Murakami translation is Pinball 1973, and this is translated by Alfred Birnbaum. Alfred Birnbaum would go on to translate many of Murakami's early books until Murakami, I think once he got really successful, he changed out Birnbaum. A choice that I feel was a bit of a mistake, but I think that Murakami wanted more direct translations, and Alfred Birnbaum, I think, translates in a way that will allow the uniqueness of the text to translate directly to kind of the American or English speaking, we'll say, way of thinking. So it's not always direct. I'm not saying he's rewriting Murakami's work, but it's not as direct a translation as somebody like J. Rubin or Philippe Gabriel, I don't remember his name, have done later. But yeah, this is the first Murakami translation, the second novel in the trilogy of the Rat. So, and that is number 12 in the Kodansha English Library. Very cool. And I like this idea that Murakami and Alfred Birnbaum met, and that Alfred Birnbaum was translating for him when Murakami was not worldwide famous. It's very cool. Number 21, The Glass Rabbit by Toshiko Takagi. No idea what this is, what it's about. It's number 21. I can't tell. And there's, of course, everything on the outside here and on the inside flap, I don't know, you can tell, is in Japanese. So only the text itself is in English. So this is another one that I'm looking forward to checking out, because, I mean, it could be a really cool story that isn't talked about enough in America or in English-speaking booktube. Who knows? Number 26, we see Alfred Birnbaum come back translating another Haruki Murakami, this time his first novel. Interesting that they started with the second novel and then moved on to the first. These two are highly sought after Kodansha English Library's texts, because for a long time this is the only way you could read the Trilogy of the Rat, the first two novels in the Trilogy of the Rat. And Murakami really felt that his career started, and he stated this in interviews, with the third volume, Wild Sheep Chase, in this series. He was never planning on releasing these in English. So really, people that were Murakami fans started realizing they could order these off of eBay and get English versions of these texts. Eventually, and maybe it was because of that, I don't know, Murakami did have J. Rubin do a translation of these two, so they're much easier to get now. But I actually prefer Birnbaum's translations a lot over the later J. Rubin translation, so I'm very glad to have these two. Number 28 is another big one. This is The Marvelous Village Veiled in Mist by Sachiko Kashiwaba. And the cool thing about this, it's another kind of child's adventure story, but this one happens to be the story that the Miyazaki movie Spirited Away was based on. So if you, as far as I know, if you want to read the story that the movie Spirited Away was based on, this is the translation you have to get. This was translated by Christopher Holmes, and has really fun little pictures in it that you're not going to be able to see, but there are quite a few pictures in here that are really wonderful. I really enjoyed this story. I loved the movie. I was living in Japan when Spirited Away came out, and I really enjoyed it, and then I eventually got this copy and was able to read the story as well, and it was really worth a read. Really fun. Next is Night Train to the Stars and Other Stories. This is number 31, and this is by Kenji Miyazawa, and it's translated by John Bester, and the sketches in it are by Makoto Obo. Hey, I wonder if this other one tells me who the artist is, just like that one did. It does not. It just has pictures in it, apparently. This is a popular story, kid's story, and I've never read it, so I can't say much about it, but I know that in Japan, this guy was very popular. I wonder, I doubt. Nope. Physics exists. All right. Next we have 36, which is another big one. This one is one that people look for, and it sells for quite a bunch, and that is Run, Melos, and Other Stories by Osamu Dazai. And of course, Osamu Dazai wrote No Longer Human, which is a really gritty, existential Japanese novel. Absolutely wild, almost scary novel. I read it and very much enjoyed it. Japanese literature gets to the heart of the inner workings of humankind so well. So I'm very much looking forward to reading these short stories. And I'm glad to have something else written by Osamu Dazai. Next is number 42, and that is Salamander and Other Stories by Masuji Ibuse. And I have no idea about this at all. This is one of the ones that came in the box I got recently, so something that I am looking forward to checking out. Next, we have Portraits of 8 Families by Yasutaka Tsutsui. And Yasutaka Tsutsui is best known as the writer of Paprika, which became the anime Paprika. So he's kind of a well-known science fiction writer in Japan. I've only read Paprika by him, so now I've got some short stories that I can read. This was not part of the box. I got this earlier from a thrift store, and I was really happy to find it, which is, I think, the last time I talked about the Kodansha English Library. So next is probably, if you could get a first edition of this Kodansha Early English Library, this is probably the most expensive set of books you can get. And they actually numbered, there's 2 books in this, and they actually numbered at 51 and 52. And that is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is the only place that you can get Alfred Birnbaum's translation of this text, which I feel is the better translation of this text. So these are not first editions, but I'll bet you I could still get like 100 and 150 for them, but I'll never sell them. I love them. This is the first time I read Norwegian Wood was in these. That's the end of Murakami in these Kodansha English libraries. And last but not least, I have Salad Anniversary by Machi Tawara. And I think Machi Tawara is a poet, because this is all haiku. And the whole book is haikus, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. I do like a good haiku. So I about probably tripled my collection from the last time I did this on this channel. If you are interested in any of these, I would say go check them out. They're really fun, really great way to get translations of books you wouldn't normally be able to find, which is absolutely awesome. All right, that's it for now. I will see you guys next time.